Yeah, yeah. You guys had to be watching this real closely as we're looking into the story of a man who happened to be a stick up kid in Brooklyn, New York, and this man's name is Kelvin Darnell Martin. This man who was also known as 50 Cent. He was an American gangster and a stick-up kid, based in the streets of Fort Greene, Brooklyn, New York. Martin is primarily known as the inspiration for the name of a rapper who had to be Curtis Jackson, who had to be 50 Cent as well. We're going into this little thing that we had to go. It's a little story. It's a little story. It's a little story about where he come from. Okay, born in the Bronx borough of New York City, Kelvin Darnell Martin was partially raised there by his grandmother, who goes by the name of Irene Martin. Uh, he later moved to Brooklyn. He later moved to Brooklyn, but he later, yeah, that's why I said he later moved to Brooklyn, residing in the Fort Greene district. Martin was possibly known. Yeah, that's what it's known. Martin was possibly known as 50 Cent due to his reputation of being prepared to rob anyone regardless of how much money uh, a lot of people were carrying. Rappers, drug dealers, street hustlers, you name them all. You name them all. You know, this this I'm gonna tell you about this thing goes. This man was possibly known as 50 Cent. This man was possibly known as 50 Cent. Kelvin Darnell Martin. He was known as that name due to his reputation of being prepared to rob anyone. Rappers, you know, rappers, stick up kids, and that's not stick up kids, rappers, hustlers, drug dealers, you name them. Anyone, regardless of how much money that they were carrying at the time, he will rob them. Another story that is another story is that came. That's why I not know of. Another story is that it came from an incident where when he entered a game of dice with 50 cents and it was a little change, and then he ended up walking away with $500 like $100 bills, like Benjamin Franklin's. So Martin spends time in let me show you this shit. Rikers Island. Rikers Island. That happened to be a 418, not I forgot about. It was like a 413 acre island that was in the Eastern River in the Bronx that contains the largest jail in New York City. So Kelvin Darnell Martin, he spent time in in New York's Rikers Island jail as a youth, as a youngster. The nickname may also be an allusion to his small stature. But let me tell you about this guy here. He weighed only at what 120 pounds in, like, that means 54, it means 54 kilograms. 54 kilograms. And you see how it goes in with him, his height. I mean, the man was like shorter than me. The man was like shorter than me in that period. His height was like 5 foot, 5 foot 2 inches. The man was shorter than me. You know what I mean? That means 157 centimeters. But that's a bad thing goes on with his with his reputation. It's all there because of it. See, the stories are not just as what become more known and what has been told. In this, see, it's one thing that's been told in a documentary. So the infamous times, volume one is already became a thing. Uh, it got references here a little bit. I'm gonna get to references before I had to get to the before I get to what really happened with with uh with the murder of of Kelvin Darnell Martin in 1987. Okay, we gotta do some. We'll show you. We'll go read you. I'm gonna read y'all some references that's already came through. Tone Boots did some sort of thing that's going on. I think Tone Boots mentioned this uh about get rich or die trying. That's from the Stuff magazine that was archived from the original. That was from like that's from between August of 2005 all the way to like September 29th, 2007. So there's the documentary that they try letting people know about. The real 50 Cent from Brooklyn. See, the Kelvin Darnell Martin documentary that came out, but that already came out. See, it was from Urban Areas .net. That was from that was that was from like January 10th, 2015. And number three here, that's one and two there. So they had this thing called the infamous times, volume one, the original. It means the original 50 Cent. That was from that was shown from IMDb .com. That was in World Wide Web on IMDb .com. That type of bubble. It could have burst anyway. So number four, you have the original 50 Cent. That's what trade from like a year ago. The biographical thing. See, the biographical um, article that's related to a crime is a stub. That's what it is. It's like a stub or something. There's all reference to that. But Wikipedia, you can help Wikipedia by at least expanding it. See, you got all this shit, all these births from 1964. There's births from the 1964. You know what I mean? Births and his deaths. That was from 1987. This is from it's from the 60s to the 80s. They talk about 20th century American criminals. They talk about African American gangsters. They talk about references to American gangsters, American male criminals. They talk about American robbers, criminals from Brooklyn. You got criminals. They talk about criminals. You talk about criminals from the Bronx. You talk about gangsters from New York City. That's the mobsters. That's the Gambino family and all of them. Yeah, you know, syndicate crime families that you've seen in Brooklyn and Chicago and Philadelphia and all that. You talk about African American people that were murdered, deaths by firearm in Brooklyn. You talk about 20th century African American people. We talk about the crime biography stubs. That's there. That shit was there. That shit was there. But I'm finished with the references and all this other shit. Let me go read all this to you so you can hear everything else um about what happens on October 20th, 1987. Kelvin Darnell Martin was shot in the stairway of his girlfriend's building in the Albany houses in Crown Heights, New York, in Crown Heights, New York. That's in the borough of Brooklyn. That was Brooklyn's Crown Heights, I think. Uh, that's a neighborhood that was in the central portion. I'll tell you about Crown Heights in that period. Crown Heights is like a neighborhood that was in the central portion of the New York City borough of Brooklyn. Crown Heights has been bounded by Washington Avenue to the west, Atlantic Avenue to the north, Ralph Avenue to the east, and Empire Boulevard / East New York Avenue to the south. That's what Crown Heights was known for. It's just a neighborhood. It's just a known neighborhood. Yeah, yeah. Martin was shot in the stairway of his girlfriend's building in the Albany houses of Crown Heights. Uh, Dying at Kings County Hospital. 4 days later, a man named Julio Wemo Acevedo. That guy could be Martin's killer. Yeah, it goes back to October 20th when he was shot in the stairway of his girlfriend's building in the Albany houses in the Crown Heights, uh, you know, uh, you know, the house development. He was dying at Kings County Hospital. But 4 days later, they already said this about his killer, who was convicted of first-degree manslaughter and served about a decade in prison for the killing of Martin. That's Julio Azevedo. They call him Wemo. Yeah, they arrested his killer. They arrested his killer for, you know, they convicted him for, of the first degree manslaughter, and he serving about a decade in prison for the murder. So Wayne, I ain't trying to find out why would he just this probably has something to do with the incident when he robbed somebody. With Kelvin Darnell Martin, it has something to do with the incident he robbed somebody at the mall. He robbed somebody. It has something to do with him robbing somebody at the mall. Things of that nature. And somebody else brought a family member with him, so they can look for Martin and they kill him. And then Julio was with the guy that Martin had robbed. You know what I mean? Lost some money. Some dude gets called Wemo to finish the job and kill Martin. Kill Kelvin Martin. Yeah, that's what happens when you rob somebody of their jewel, rob some person of their jewel, of his jewelry and some money. You're gonna suffer the consequences. You're gonna suffer the consequences. That means you're going to die. They will kill you. They will kill you just for that. But why enter a dice game and do something else? But we're looking at the legacy there. The influence goes on with him. See, the legacy. Kelvin Darnell Martin, his life and influence were chronicled in an in-depth biographical documentary that starting from his upbringing and carrying through past his death. The documentary is called The Infamous Times Volume 1, the original 50 Cent. And guess who's narrating it? Bones Malone. He's the guy who did who did the narration on that documentary. My aunt still had that DVD. I think she still had that DVD. But I don't know if I asked her about it, but I couldn't. She doesn't want me to know where. She doesn't want me to know where she put the DVD. Even though that was in 2005, I was way in Texas. You know what I mean? When my grandfather and my aunt had to come down here in that period. I was in Texas, staying in my aunt's house, her rental house, and my aunt's house. I was way in Dallas, Texas. I had to spend a whole entire night there, and that's why I watched that movie, that documentary. But that goes within the story. About to end the stream, folks. About to finish the stream, folks, so I can get this over with. And go end the stream, folks. About to stream this thing, folks. I'm out of here. I gotta start that video. I gotta start the other video. I gotta start that video over again. I'm gonna go get my whatchamacallit. I'm gonna get my whatchamacallit. Alright, I'm gonna get my my tablet, and then I'm gonna get back with y'all on it. Peace.